welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message, hit the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try and force in some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 803 of the Trinity Force Podcast. My name is N.A. Eric. I'm your host, as always. And tonight we have patch 13.07, the provisional notes, as the patch will go live in a couple days. So it should come out by the time you're hearing this. I'm going to probably put it up tonight, actually. So it might come out in a couple days if you're listening to this as soon as it gets released. But yeah, it is myself and Matt, and John Bomo is off gallivanting in Nashville. Kaib, our old former podcaster, might have made a trek out from where he lives in Tennessee to go visit him. Not sure about that, but I'm sure we'll get the whole 411 next week when he's back. But we got a great episode here for 803. So yeah, Matt, welcome back, man. It's your second pod. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing quite well. I'm enjoying myself, hanging on out.
Nice.
Having a great time.
Nice. You look the most formal of the three of us. I am in a hoodie, and I definitely am wearing pants, even though you can't see me from the waist down. No, I'm wearing some shorts, but he's got like a nice button down and everything. Again, with the black on the black background so that your hands stand out. I like the consistency there.
Gotta always look professional.
Yep.
And then meanwhile, I have my background, which is titled Discord the Movie, trying to phase me out, apparently.
Yep. Discord the movie, look, I would watch that, honestly. I don't know what they would do, but I think it'd be really cool. I would definitely watch something like that. What could they do? Would it just be like a Wreck-It Ralph sort of thing, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it looks like a little metro scene here.
Yeah, it's like Wreck-It Ralph meets Cyberpunk meets Donkey Kong, almost, is kind of the vibes that I'm getting from it.
Yeah, that'd be unique.
Yeah. We should write it. We should write it, folks.
Thank you. Thank you, Discord. Yeah, Discord and Disney. Crossover.
Yep.
We could start it and then just get Discord as a sponsor real quick on top of it.
Yeah, Discord, Disney.
And Nintendo for
Discord
the Donkey Kong stuff. Yeah, we don't even.
Nintendo.
I'm sure that, you know what, they're totally fine with other people using their IP. We don't even need to ask for the rights. I'm sure it won't get copyright stricken, and we won't get shadow banned from the internet. Nah.
Yeah. Discord and Disney. That'll be we'll do it. That'll be $2 million. Thank you.
Yep. Cool. John, how are you doing outside of hanging out in Discord City? Discord the movie
Good.
in Discord City.
Yeah, in my casting role with Discord the movie.
Yep.
I've been playing a lot of tennis. That's been fun. Getting back into that, and then
do you have a better forehand or a backhand?
Definitely forehand. Forehand's the weapon.
Okay.
Serve in the forehand.
Can you do like the whole, like, where you throw it up and you're basically off the ground like the professional serve, or are you more like lobbing it over?
I can do the first that you said.
That's the first one. Okay, the cool one, as opposed to like people who are terrible like myself when we just play casually and have to like, oh, try it for one and then second serve and then just like toss it up and hit it across really easily. Okay.
Well, you still got to go for the first serve.
Of course.
You got two for a reason, you know?
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess I would hope so. I've been playing since I was, like, 5, so.
Cool.
But anyway, as far as the league, I guess, yeah, I played a good bit of solo queue this past weekend.
What champs have you been playing? What sort of builds?
Kindred, a good bit. A little bit of ADC. As far as Kindred, I mean, I don't know. Just I've been going the meta build mostly on that, and then Conquer or PTA, depending. I don't know. I like Conquer on Kindred a lot too because it's super nice for dueling, and if they tanks are good right now, so it's nice for that
Does
as
the meta
well.
build do like the crit with like a Kraken Slayer into something, or is it like Bruiser-ish with like Black Cleaver, or what is
It's
it? What
like
does it look like?
it's like Bruiser, so like Kraken into Whitson into Black Cleaver,
Okay.
and you can go like Green Smite with Overheal, and you get a pretty fat shield by mid to late.
Yeah.
So, but even without going Bloodthirster, which after it got nerfed, I don't think I ever go that on Kindred, but yeah, playing some Lee Sin. I've been really enjoying that. I mean, I think he's strong. I mean, we'll talk more about that later in the pod,
He is very strong.
but yeah, I mean, I've
Mhm.
been enjoying it uh, for the most part.
Nice. Matt, what you been up to league-wise?
League-wise, I've been grinding. I got my main account finally up to gold. I'm just playing. I literally only play ADC only right now. Um, I just enjoy the right clicking and farming simulator, to which then I can just scale to late game and win. It's really nice and simple. Um, Currently, I've been only doing Tristana and Jinx, just trying to keep that pool really small and consistent. And it's been working out pretty well for me.
That's always the best way to climb, is to keep a small consistent pool, so nice. Nice,
Mm.
nice. I have, let's see, league-wise, I played some solo queue, and I've just been enjoying playing Diana and Viego in the jungle, and then a little bit of Malphite sometimes, or I'll still play like Fiddlesticks when it makes sense. When I'm like, what do I play? Okay, I'll play Fiddlesticks or Jarvan, but um, I have I forgot how fast Diana clears and how strong she is post, first clear. Uh, it's pretty fun just to go. I've just been doing the old bruiser as opposed to full AP, but Nashor's into Jack Show, and then probably Thornmail or Force of Nature and another tanky item, and then or maybe I'll get Demonic fourth or third or something like that. Throw it in somewhere, but um, yeah, had a lot of trolls the last week in solo queue, so I think I'll be steering clear for a week or so. I was playing a game on Sunday, so yesterday, and uh, there was a duo of support and mid. So support was Nunu, and he went smite, and he just smite and Q and ate my red buff right at the start of the game. So then I had to go to the other side, but he just did that on camps and then would snowball around, and he never dropped a ward. He would dance in base for a while, just went like 0 and 10, 0 and 12, just like feeding lanes. It was awful. And then Pantheon was his duo mid because they were both voting no on surrenders and acting quite differently from everybody else. Which is unfortunate because we had a good top laner and I was doing decently, and our ADC Zaya was actually pretty good too. So we absolutely could have won that game, but um, yeah, Panth went 8 and 0 against a Zoe mid who he should smack that lane level 2. But he got smashed, and then he was dancing around in base for a while. Yeah, really unfortunate. And then the game before that, I had a Silas who rage quit when he was 3 and 5, and we were winning the game and up on the map. He died to a dive, and then he said like jungle diff, and then just DC'd, just left. But it was a level 47 account. It was this Smurf account. He went on to a different account. Fucking ridiculous. I hated that so much. So yeah. But outside of those games, like I've been in pretty good form, so my morale is decent as far as like my ability to play and everything like that. So yeah. Outside of league, just got hit with another snowstorm this past weekend. The snow was mostly melted, and then I had to dig my car out on Saturday. So that's how much came down. Well, apparently, it's been the third snowiest winter ever recorded in the Minneapolis-St. Paul metro area. We've been up to, I think it's like 7 or 8 feet or so, which is not a ton compared to some of the places in like mountainous California and the Rockies that they've gotten insane amounts of snow. But yeah, it's been very snowy here, and uh, you guys should look up some of the potholes that have happened. I feel like I'm driving around in the city. I feel like I'm playing Mario Kart, having to dodge potholes. Like you see someone swerving in the middle of the day, like during work time or whatever. They're not drunk, they're not high or whatever. They're not paying attention. They're dodging potholes. That's what's happening right now. There's some that are literally the size of a whole tire that are just like in the ground. That it's all over the place. It's really bad right now. So yeah. Apparently, at some point, one of those probably I must have bounced and then cracked my windshield. So I'm getting my windshield replaced tomorrow, which is nice. I mean, car insurance, so it's free, but still gonna go do that. But other than that, I'm going to Miami on Wednesday. Stay at my grandma has a vacation condo down there, so I'll be down there for like almost 2 weeks. So I won't be in the next two podcasts, but I will edit them. But yeah, so
So you're dodging the potholes by going to Miami.
yes, exactly. Yeah, the potholes will not be ganking me anymore. I am gone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the flood prone zone in DeSantis's backyard in Florida. Yep.
No
Good old
more
lane
games.
swap.
Yeah, good lane swap.
Yep, exactly. Lane swapping down there, which is arguably worse because Florida, but yeah. Anyways, it should be fun. It'll be nice to get to a place. We haven't hit 50 degrees, so I haven't felt a 50-degree day all year so far. So it'll be nice to hit 50. I'll enjoy that.
Oh, it's lovely here, Eric. I don't even want to say. You'd be jealous.
Probably like a balmy 75 or maybe like 80, but then you have that cool ocean breeze coming through. That's my guess.
Yeah, it's like roughly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Today it was 88 in
Damn.
Texas.
That's
yeah,
hot.
it was a lovely time to climb outside today.
Is it normally that warm in like beginning of April and where you're at, Matt, or is it like are you guys getting like a weird heat wave?
Well, the way I like to explain it is it's Texas. Either it's summer or it's winter. So we've went from 60 degrees at max temperature to now it's 88 as our high, and next week expected to go down to I think 50, 40 somewhere around there as our high. So it just fluctuates between either it's really hot today as a summer temperature or it's really cold.
Gotcha. Hopefully it doesn't get cold enough where the electricity grid goes down again.
We cross our fingers all the time.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, as much as I would love to just sit here and banter with you folks, we have a patch to go through. So let's get into it. So Azir is getting a whole host of changes. So his armor is going up by 3 from 19 to 22. His attack speed growth per level is going up from 5% to 6%. The skill recommender in game, I honestly did not know there was a skill recommender in game. I thought it was only from desktop applications that it was in, but alas, the skill recommender is changing from Q to W max. The passive duration, the turret, is increasing by 15 seconds, so now it's going to be 45 seconds of turret. Assuming it doesn't get damaged or anything, it'll just decay at that point. The passive summon range is up to 700, so you can summon it from a little further away. The Q mana cost is going up. So it was 65 to 85. It is now 70 to 110. So it's going to cost a lot more at rank 5. The Q, like the dash range, the little stab range that it does with a little dash, was 370. Now it's 325. The W mana cost, which is Arise, that's summoning a soldier, was flat 40. Now it's 40 to 20 with ability rank. So every point in W will now decrease the cost. The damage per rank was 50 to 90. Now it's 50 to 118. The W total damage was 50 to 200. Now it's 50 to 210. So that's a lot of different stuff. They're not touching his E. They're not touching his R. They're trying to change Azir's his core gameplay away from being bursty. They're trying to push him more towards sort of a Nashor's style build where he's using the soldiers to attack really fast. I mean, at first glance, John, what do you think of all these changes here? Do you think they're getting to what they're trying to get at?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I just haven't seen much Azir or played him, but I don't know. I feel like this is a bunch of changes like again. So I don't know, but I agree with you because it was they're kind of pushing more into like a magey kind of style, I guess, rather than the attack speed, just you know all up front, like you were saying.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. It just
He
seems like a lot of changes. I think in 2 patches, in my opinion.
Yeah, and his stats show that he needs it. He's right now towards the end of the last patch at a 44.48% win rate. So he's bad. He should not be approaching 50% because of the complexity of his kit. But if he's sitting somewhere around 47, he's probably in a pretty balanced state for people who know how to play him. This will be something that we'll have to ask Bomo next week to report on to see how it feels. But yeah, they also have to be careful when they change his ear because he has an outsized impact in pro play. He's not a solo queue champion at all, really. But yeah,
Yeah, I feel like it's also weird, like changing his Q stab range. It it just seems like it'll feel weird to people who play a lot of his ear. So that'll be something to get used to, I guess.
yep,
Smaller Shurima shuffles.
Yep.
yep.
Mhm.
But I think if they're really trying to change if they're actually committing full on to changing his identity, this in addition to the last changes that happened in the last patch are not enough. They need to push it further, I think. So I don't know exactly what those changes would be, but it now feels like they have one foot in each camp at this point solidly. They're kind of deciding, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe this is enough to change a bit how his ear functions. We'll see. We'll report back. We'll have Bomo report back next week when he gets back from the south. Yep. Matt, anything else to add about his ear?
No, I just feel like there was a lot of things added on. I'm interested why the armor changed, but other than that, that's about it.
Maybe they're making his viability to play in top lane or in bot lane a bit more. I mean, also he's going to be a little tankier in mid lane, but I guess if they're my thought about that might be the other lane's viability, but I think more now that I'm like talking out loud, stream of consciousness, they're trying to make him less burst, more battle magey, so
Mm,
he needs more innate tankiness in order to do that and less upfront damage. So that would perhaps be it.
that makes sense, especially with like Talon or Zed being meta right now and trying to just burst you down real quick.
Yeah, or the AD range champions that sometimes go mid, like I mean your Tristana, or
Tristana.
yeah, I mean I've seen Quinn. Jace is all over the place in pro play playing mid now, so yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that's about it though.
cool. Matt, you want to cover Katarina for us?
So yeah, with Katarina, the passive dagger AP ratio, it's going increased. It's going from 65 to 95%. It's going from 70 all the way up to 100%. And then with her R, the AD ratio is starting off with the 18% bonus AD, and it's going with the 30% bonus AD, 100% bonus. Anyways, it's going from the 18 bonus AD up or down to the 16% bonus AD. But the percentage bonus AD per attack speed, per bonus attack speed, is basically going from 30% to 50% or plus 50%.
I'm also
Uh,
confused like you. Like I this is
this is
this is weird. So here's what I'm getting out of it. They're increasing the passive dagger AP ratio by 5% at all ranks. And then they're making uh the Death Lotus, the R, the bonus AD. So if you just build a bunch of lethality, that's going to be less effective. However, if you're building AD and attack speed, it's going to be better the way that the numbers are shaking out. So things like a Bork would be better than just building Eclipse, perhaps, is what they're trying to get at with these numbers changes here. Does that track with what you guys are thinking as well?
Yeah, I feel like
mm,
maybe even I don't know, with Nashor's tooth, I feel like that. I mean, that was already a thing you did on her, but I feel like that the AP ratio with I know it is AD, but you still get you could do like a hybrid kind of deal, I guess. because you still get the attack speed. So
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I mean, like changes like this make me wanna, or make me think that we're getting closer to seeing the tank Katarina pop back up with Heartsteel, and because she can proc it on everybody around her instantly with the R. Um, with that and like Titanic Hydra and maybe a Nashers, but then also like a Demonic as well. So you're dipping into AD, you're dipping into attack speed, you're dipping into health. Um, and that would maybe be some of it, because if you get a shitload of health, then Titanic just offers you more and more AD as well, which would go towards some of this. Yeah.
I'm interested. I'll keep a close eye on Cat Evolve because he usually keeps like a close meta, or like is well informed about all the different builds you can go on Katarina. So, um, if I was to know anyone who could give a build, it'd probably be that person.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Most people who play Katarina are not Katarina casuals. They play Katarina a lot. So yeah, that's a good call out. Pay attention to Cat Evolved or other Katarina main content creators. I'm not aware of any others, but yeah, if you are just trying to pick up Cat just for one game or whatever, her AP builds have not gotten any worse. They've just gotten better overall because of the passive AP ratio increase. Everything else that was changed that we've talked about somewhat accurately does not affect her AP builds at all. So that's the message there. Cool. John, why don't you tackle? Actually, we'll save Graves for you, Matt. Do you want to take Callista?
Absolutely. So with Callista, her attack damage growth is going from 3.5 to 3.75, and the Oathsworn ceremony is shortened down by 4 seconds. They basically reduce 4 seconds on it. It's a quality of life with the Oathsworn, and the attack damage growth is going to be pretty nice with all the scaling champions. Though I feel like this is trying to get them up to par with how the scaling champions are, like Zeri, Vayne type of style. Everybody's picking the scaling champions right now, so it's trying to bring her up to that same level as the meta EDCs.
yeah, I think this is also like just a little pre-MSI reminder to the pros that Callista exists. And I think she's good with a lot of the meta supports too. So that, and the passive thing, like you said, is just a nice quality of life change, because that was pretty annoying sometimes.
Yeah,
Like if you don't do it right away, it is annoying.
yeah, and she seems balanced to me right now. I don't really see her in games, but stats wise, she's hovering around a 48.5% win rate for the past couple patches, and she hasn't been touched. So the last two. So I mean, she's doing okay. And if you know how to play her, then you're a lot better than anyone who just picks her up. But she's got such a low pick rate that anyone who's playing her plays her a lot. Yeah, I don't know. I think that she's probably in a decent state for how much they can buff her without her being just heavily overtuned and being permabanned for MSI.
Yeah, because a really good combo is that I know they play in Pro is Callista with Renata, and then I mean Callista. I like Callista with Nautilus a lot, but yeah, I think it's just I feel like this is probably a Pro targeted thing mostly.
And with the AD growth going up, not any like flat damage. They're trying to buff her in a way that doesn't buff support Callista. So yes, like AD carry Callista will benefit from this. Support does as well, like every Callista does. But if you're getting more levels, you're going to get more of this AD, even though it's a minuscule amount. Maybe, I mean, this does make solo lane Callista slightly better, or gain more power relative to other Callistas here slightly. I mean, it is minuscule, I would think, but solo lane Callista in the right matchup can be so oppressive.
Yeah, top lane that can be so annoying too.
We won't see it at MSI, but it'll be fun to see during their solo queue games.
Yep. There's not enough of a pick rate to see stats for mid or top at all, but yeah. it's very situational. If you're thinking about trying it, please don't first time it in ranked.
Bring a duo jungler,
Yeah,
at least.
fantastic with a duo. Yeah, somewhat like a diver would be fantastic with her to just throw, uh, dive on in, pull him back out, throw him back in. Like a Jarvan jungle is a classic combination. So yeah. Okay, next change we have is Graves. So Mr. Graves main, why don't you go through it for us?
All right, so Graves. New Destiny, his passive bonus physical crit strike chance ratio is being increased from 20 to 30%. And then his R cooldown is being reduced from 120, 90, 60 to 180 and 60 seconds. So, I
So
mean,
I
it's always nice.
understand. Sorry, I understand. Like everyone understands what the R cooldown is, but can you explain what the first change is for people who don't understand what this crit bonus change is and how it interacts with Graves? Because he has special interactions with crit, I believe.
Yeah, so you get whenever Graves crit, he does 6 pellets instead of 4. And then also each pellet can do like bonus physical damage. It is based on the crit like strike chance ratio that you have.
Hmm.
And so they're just changing that from 20 to 30. So 10%, I mean, it's I don't know. I'm excited to try this. So basically any like shield bow would be instantly what goes to my mind. But it's a much more expensive build. Um it'll be nice because you can also still dip into overheal and go green smite. So same kind of idea with Kindred, except you have shield bow as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited to try this out. And always having your R up more is always nice with Graves if you can snag a kill or something like that. But
So
yeah,
when you're talking about specking into crit as opposed to as opposed to the alternative, do you mean? I mean, lethality there is, and there's more bruiser, but like, what's the other way that you're seeing or that you're playing most common to play him? Are you going into the Eclipse, or are you going like Gore Drinker and going Ghost and full armor and stuff?
yeah, it really just depends. Like against I mean if they have like a lot of tanks and a lot of melees, I like going Gore Drinker, Black Cleaver, going Ghost, like you said. Um and then I don't know, sometimes though I like going like Eclipse, Black Cleaver. I think Black Cleaver is just good right now, and Graves likes all the stats that Black Cleaver has. Um, I mean, I feel like I build, Maul and him a decent bit in Merc Treads. I feel like I build Merc Treads on him like every game. I don't know. I'm glad they're buffing him. I think he felt underwhelming for sure. So this will be nice to see how that goes. But I'll be interested to see because the ideal back. It was nice that the ideal like first base for Graves was 1100 gold, so you can get Dirk, you know. But that changes now with Noon Quiver being 1300, so a little more expensive. Maybe I guess you can opt into going either sorcery or inspiration and going like futures market and boots, or sorcery go absolute focus and either water walking or gathering storm. So absolute focus and gathering storm would help make up for the lack of AD, I guess you get at the beginning without Noon Quiver, especially with like water walking. But yeah, I saw another thing where if you could do that build, same build, overheal kind of deal. But if you have a like a healing or a shielding teammate support or something like that, you
Hmm.
can go revitalize, go green smite with overheal and shield bow, and that would probably be pretty good. But that's pretty situational. I don't know. I'm just excited to try a bunch of different things because I like Great Graves because if you're hitting close range with the autos and their critting, like you can hit their entire team and it does a lot of damage. So I don't know. I like Great Graves, but Eclipse. I've played so much Eclipse that I like it. I just feel very comfortable on it, but
Hmm.
I've always liked Crit. It's just been very expensive and not as good, I guess, until or like something I would consider until now as much. Like I almost never went shield though, I feel like.
It takes a lot longer to
Um,
get online. Like in solo queue,
yeah.
more immediate power
Yeah.
is over. It tips the scales a lot harder than later power does, and Eclipse spikes earlier. It doesn't have the late game. I think, from my observance, it doesn't have the late game that Crit does in the same way. I mean, it still has a shitload of damage and ability haste, right? But Crit Graves just is a stronger champion at the end of the at 6 items than Lethality Graves is, right?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, like a 6 item would just, crit would be one-shotting carries.
Yeah.
But but yeah, I'll be excited to see how this all shakes out and do some experimentation with builds and runes and whatnot. Because yeah, I've been much preferring Kindred over Graves just because he doesn't feel great to me. So always welcome with the Graves buffs. I know you love that.
Yeah, Graves needs buffs. The fact that he's when I stop banning Graves, you know he's too weak because I will ban him when he's balanced. I will ban him when he is not good, but still good enough to cause me mental consternation. But I don't feel any when someone locks in Graves, I don't feel any threat. Like when someone locks in a Warwick right now and I'm facing that, I'm like mentally I'm like fuck. But when someone locks in Graves, I'm like cool. I don't care. So as me being probably the number one Graves hater, he needs buffs. Yeah.
Thank you,
Anything
Red.
anything to add with as far as Graves, Matt?
No, he pretty much got him all over taken care of. I'm excited to see Collector Graves come back and just
You're
sweep the board,
you're
collecting everything.
yeah, you're excited to get one shot again by Graves, right?
Another thing to one shot me. It's gonna be great.
Yep. Yep.
He's
Okay.
almost like you. He's almost like an AD carry, except he can one shot as well.
And he gets 200 free armor.
Yeah, you're not getting 200 free armor. Don't even have to build armor.
Yep.
200
You just get to
IQ.
play the dance of the duos.
Oh yeah, just dancing around minions.
Oh man.
Running around. Speaking of dancing around, that leads into our next one, Alistar. He got a new buff as well. His armor is going from 44 to 47, and his base health is going from 670 to 685, meaning that he gets to dance around a little bit more as well, staying alive a little bit longer. Um, if I was to touch on it, I would say this probably gives him maybe an extra auto or a little combo that he can get off during lane. Um, Nothing too crazy, but more just I'd say it feels more just like a nudge to the pros, being like, "Hey, this champion exists as well."
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, John, what are your thoughts before I give mine? Because I'm excited
I
about this.
mean, yeah, I know they've done a few Alistar changes recently. I mean, I'm glad that they've done it because he's been like non-existent. Um, I think he's a fun champion, and a good Alistar is just so oppressive. Um, so yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think this is a small change, like Matt was saying, but it'll be a good reminder, and hopefully people will just pick him up more.
Yep. So his armor going up is pretty I mean, so it's only going up by 3. 3 armor in itself doesn't change very much, but the fact that it's 47 now, he is now tied for the highest base armor in the game with Braum and Leona. He was already number 4, but now he's tied for number 1. So he's going to end up having 125 armor at level 18 just by existing and not buying any items or doing anything else. No runes, nothing. Just already having that. So I mean, if he takes the armor and he has above 50 armor level 1, like he gets to 100 armor so easily now. So there's that. He's gonna be really. I mean, he's a good support right now. He's about a little under a 50% win rate. He's just doing well. He's not picked all that often. It's situational, right? There's a lot of times when you don't want to pick Alistair, but there's some times when it could be great, and people who are really good with Alistair do some crazy stuff.
I played with a really good Alistar recently, and I was playing Rengar, and that like he just will throw people into my range when they're like right out of my range from a bush, and I can just insta kill them. And I mean, he was doing that like literally all game. He was very good. All his flash um, headbutts were super good too. A good Alistar is insanely impressive if you're ahead.
Yeah, and I think that I know that Glacial is popular. I personally just think that Phase Rush is the best way to play him, though. Especially if you're playing him in a solo lane, which I think is I think it's legitimately quite viable with all the AP ratio increases that he's gotten. I mean, level 3 with Phase Rush, you have an untradeable combo. You WQE and run away from them. And if they somehow can stick on you, or you don't want to, you know, if you don't want to disengage, then you have your E doing some damage, and then boom, you stun them, and then you can walk away if you want. You can also W onto a minion to then get in range to be able to hit a Q on them if they're slightly outside of range, if they understand how to space about it. Something that my friend Evan told me about, which I never really thought of, was he used to play a lot of Alistair back when he played. He only plays ARAMs now for the most part, but back when he used to play Summoner's Rift, he would play Alistair and go. A lot of times he would, let's say you're hunting for a target in a team fight, W onto someone else and then flash Q for someone further back, so you don't have to just like flash WQ, because people are going to see that coming. But if you're like Wing the Braum in the front line or the Scion, someone's like, what are you doing? Then you flash Q onto them behind. Catches them so much off guard. I do that in whenever I play him, and I played him sometimes in solo lane, but I'm excited to try it out more. A couple matchups that I've played it into, which were miserable for the opponent, was playing it into Fizz, was miserable for them. Echo was terrible. He could not clear the waves or anything early. Like he throws his Q, and as long as it's not hitting me, okay, just WQE, and then if he tries to walk up to the wave, I could just W him and walk away. That thing has 100% AP ratio right now, guys. It doubles your damage for the AP each amount you get, and just go like full Rocket Belt, and I mean you can go Everfrost if you want to go more peel, but Rocket Belt and I like Rocket Belt, and then other situational AP items. Throw in Zanya's would be great because you're getting a lot of ability haste. You'll have a combo coming back up once you pop back out. It's nuts. Apparently, like the best item to pick on him in mid lane is Roa, but I would not say Roa would be good there. Just go Rocket Belt, go full nuke, go full damage. It's like playing AP Malphite in mid lane. It's just a little tankier and more brawly, basically, is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that sounds really fun. I want to try that kind of.
It's really fun.
Yeah. Rocket Belt.
It's really, really
Alistar.
fun. Yep. You just can't play it into something like, it'd be bad into like Syndra would be terrible. Or maybe like a Heimer mid would be really bad because like you have to take care of the turrets and you have no way to do that. You have to be able to credibly approach the wave and not be able to be poked out from way too far. But if it's like a Xerath, that's not that bad because you could get onto him. Ziggs, I think, would be horrible as well. Talia would be horrible. There's a lot of bad matchups, so don't just go blinding it. Or if you're gonna blind it, at least don't do it like B1 or R1 or something. Like have some idea and let your team know that you're not trolling, because people are gonna have bad reactions. But this is, I think it's actually legit. So test it out, folks.
Just letting you know, guys, not trolling.
Yeah.
This is good.
Yep. Okay, last buff that we have is Yasuo. So his passive shield is going up. So it's still starting at 100, but it's going to be 100 stronger at level 18, because I think it goes up just linearly with level. But now instead of being linear, it's going to be heavily backloaded, so it'll be 575 as the shield at level 18. They're doing that just so that they don't buff bot lane Yasuo too much, is why they would do that. They would make it scaling inevitably. And then his E is changing a little bit. So E sweeping blade damage amp plus 25% base damage per stack up to 2 stacks. Now it'll be 15 to 25% total damage per stack instead of base damage. It scales with champion level. That does not scale with ability level, and it stacks up to 4 times. So you can at level 18, it looks like conceivably get 100% total damage amp on your E, which is kind of wild. I honestly forgot that Yasuo, each time he E's, gets a little damage amp for the next one. I totally forgot that existed.
Yeah, I think it'll be significant once he gets like levels and items. Late game, I mean, that's gonna be doing a good bit more damage. I mean, even mid game with items.
Yeah.
I think the notable thing here is if it's a good Yasuo, and that's a good if, they'll be able to get that shield buff and be able to use it maybe even twice throughout a whole team fight, and it's gonna be scary.
Yeah, that's a
These
fat
things are
shield to be able to
unkillable.
use. Yeah. Yep. I'm just looking at win rates and stuff. He's at a 48.6, so he's probably a bit better than he should. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say he needs buffs at all. I think basically everyone is kind of surprised that they're buffing him. If anything, he could use. I don't think he needs much balance change at all. You could nerf him if you wanted, but yeah. I also, when I was looking at this, U.GG offers a beta build, like an alternative build style for the champion. There's, I mean, this is just bad data here, but the beta build is for Yasuo mid. It is Nashor's Tooth into Lichbane and Sork Shoes with Electrocute as well. I don't understand why. I mean, it's someone played it 2 matches and won both games. And so therefore it is the best way to AP Yasuo would be the way to do that. I didn't even think he had any AP ratios, but let me look.
Yeah.
I don't think so either.
What?
His
Well,
E, maybe? No.
He has an AP ratio on his E. It is 60% AP.
yeah, he does.
That's it.
Yeah, then, okay.
So it sounds like, I mean,
E one shot.
yeah,
build.
but the base damage is so low on it. It's 60 to 100 with ability level. I don't know. I don't know. That seems interesting.
I don't know that there's any sense to be made from that.
Nope. I think if I'm going to make any sense out of AP Yasuo, it would be you could throw in a Nashor's later, but you probably want to go like Bork into Wits End or Nashor's, then Riftmaker, and do the all on hit with true damage that Bomo does on Yone, and then you see sometimes on like Vayne. Do something like that. Attack speed Nico. Do it that sort of style. Don't go Lichbane and Roa. Someone built Roa in one game. He doesn't have mana.
Which made you sound so troll.
It does. Oh my god.
I'm hoping that this was a streamer that did this, and he was like doing well piloting it. He just has to build random items on it, I guess. Hopefully, cross fingers. I feel bad for whoever had to build that.
Yeah, I don't know. But
yeah, what a dedicated gamer.
This is the type of build that you see when One for All is out, and then you have 4 ADs, and like, fuck, fine, I'll be the AP Yasuo, and then you're just like useless, but fine, I gotta round out our damage comp somehow.
At 30 minutes, my E is gonna hit. I'm gonna one-tap the AD carry with my E.
See, I could see, like, maybe making... What could be interesting is, you know how there's, like, a cooldown for each time that you hit someone, they can't be hit for another X amount of seconds? How long does it actually
the
have?
E doesn't have a cooldown, but the actual cooldown for whenever you hit somebody else.
Right. Target immunity 10 to 6 seconds. Okay, so I could see it being interesting if target immunity was maybe like 8 seconds or something, or maybe like, you know, it had an AP ratio. So the higher AP you have, the less time someone's immune from it. So let's say you had 1,000 AP, it's like a 2-second. You E through them, you Q, you can E back through. That would be very interesting to see, but that's the only way that this could actually be any bit legit.
I would call that the Yasuo Neo Matrix build.
Just train Tyraelian dashing through everybody.
Yep. So, anyways, that was the Yasuo buff. We have one adjustment, which I'll go over, which is basically actually a nerf. It's not an adjustment. It's not. So Kha'Zix, who feels pretty bad to play right now. Like, okay, his win rate's okay in solo queue, but he just feels quite crap, I think. His isolate range is going down by 50, so it was 425 to now it's 375. Nerf for every form of Kha'Zix, that is. That's huge. His W evolved slow was 60%. Now it's 40% always. The W evolved isolated slow was 90%. Now it's 75%. So W is also getting nerfed in all fashions whenever you upgrade it. And there's not a Yasuo build where you don't upgrade your W just because of how good it is and how much utility it offers. Or not Yasuo, sorry, Kha'Zix. And then the R duration is up by 2 seconds. So it was 10 seconds, now it's 12. Okay, that's the buff, so that's why they're calling this adjustment. That doesn't really do much at all. That hardly does anything. This is a straight up nerf to Kha'Zix. And I don't know, let me look at the stats. Perhaps he needs it, but this feels really bad for Kha'Zix.
Yeah, agreed. I feel like that kind of just came out of nowhere too. Like, I don't know. I thought he was pretty good, but not like insane or anything like that. So
This whole season, he's felt fine at best, is
yeah,
how I would
it's just
say
like
it.
okay.
He feels out of place right
Mhm.
now. He needs like a slight change for it to be a bit more modern, I think. He has a 50% win rate right now, so he's balanced, and he's going to thrive in solo queue. So realistically, he should have like a 51, 51 and a half, maybe 52 at most to be balanced. Because like he just can't fit into pro play at all, which really sucks that we just can't see this champion in his current form play in pro play at all. The only way he gets into pro play is if his numbers are way too fucking high that they can't ignore it. They can't not play him. But yeah,
Yeah, it seems like they're just doing the standard assassin buff and nerf type of style where they can't really change the numbers, so they have to change the actual abilities and how they work.
Mhm.
I'm
That
happy about the Q ISO range. It just sucks about the W. It's such a big impact.
Yeah, I mean, facing Kha'Zix, anyone who doesn't like facing Kha'Zix, this is great for you. Rejoice. But anyone who enjoys playing Kha'Zix or doesn't hate facing him, like this just feels bad for anyone who plays Kha'Zix. This is just a straight up nerf for everything except for that R duration. But how often is getting 2 extra seconds going to effectively make it so that those 2 seconds were worth losing the isolation range distance and the W slow? Like I don't see a world where that situation ever plays out.
So the isolation Q is actually, I think, the bonus, right? Because that's the range around the champion that gets smaller.
Right, so
So if you're nearby the ally,
yeah, exactly. So the
it's
ISO range is just, yeah, if you're now, so if you're 375 away from any allied anything,
ally, yes.
yep, that's what's good. So now it was
Okay.
425, so it's now he has to you can be uh closer, you can be a little further from an ally and still not be isolated, and he doesn't do much
Okay.
if someone's not isolated.
You can be further? I thought it was you have to be closer now.
Uh
This is
wait.
going down. It's going from 425 to 375, so it's a smaller circle now. So you have to be a little bit closer to each other.
Oh, I read that wrong. Apologies on that. I misunderstood that.
The Q is a buff, but still the W slow is a lot stronger than the actual Q. His mini game around the Q will be a lot more enjoyable, you could say, but still the W evolve is sort of where Kha'Zix is going right now, and who knows? Maybe a Kha'Zix main might know better than me, but I feel like the W nerf is quite noticeable for the solo guys.
Yeah. Well, that ISO range affects the W as well. That's the same ISO range. So, but I didn't realize that. So then I actually believe that this is an adjustment, and depending on the mode in which you're playing him, and uh, this is better. But it'll be worse for ARAM Kazakhs. That I can't say. If you're going if you're going bruiser, then this is worse. But if you're going assassin, depending on how the team comps are, this might be slightly better, but it's situational. So okay, now I see that this is an adjustment. I thought that I misunderstood the ISO range, so I apologize. Thank you for correcting me on that, though, Matt.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah.
So I guess this, like, I mean, I don't know. For his W evolve, I mean, one last thing I'll say about that is I've always felt just kind of, it's always just felt to me that Kazakh's evolve W just slows too much.
It does.
Like, it's not hard to hit, you know, and it would slow for, what was it, like, previously, 60%?
90%.
If you're isolated, though,
if we're
90,
isolated, yeah.
which can hit multiple
But
isolated targets too.
yeah, that, and then even like if 60% even is a lot. Like, I don't know. Like, I mean, you can't move at that point almost, especially the 90%. Like, you're not moving basically, very close to not moving. So I've always been of the opinion that the slow is kind of strong because it made going W evolve kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah. I'm trying to see the radius of these. Yeah, it's a 140 width. The void spikes were. So if I look at, I'm gonna check the like a Nidalee spear, because that one we all know, and that's very narrow. I think Nidalee spear is like 60 or something. Let me see about the width of it, because it like you're saying, it is quite generous. Nidalee Q, the width is 80, so it's effectively almost twice as wide as a Nidalee Q. It's pretty generous. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a bunch of nerfs. Some of these are more consequential than others, but first off, I think is a placebo nerf. So Rammus, my old stomping grounds pal, W% bonus armor is going down late. So it was 40 to 100, now it's 40 to 80. This doesn't really do much. So for jungle Rammus, this is basically always your last max. If you're playing solo lane, if you're playing like top lane Rammus, I think this is your first max, so this will hurt that more. But for jungle Rammus, this doesn't do anything because you're going Q and then E most likely, but you can go W second depending on if it's just a whole bunch of bruisers and a giant dog pile of a team, then there's not as much of a point to putting points in your E, but it's almost always Q E W. This just doesn't do much for jungle Rammus if that's who they're trying to hit. But I think this is targeted at top lane Rammus. We'll see when the blurb gets released tomorrow or the next day when it comes out. Yeah, Matt, you were nodding along, so you implicitly agreed with everything I said, right?
Yeah, I believe this is definitely a lane nerf for either mid or top. Depending on the mid is just a counter pick, and then top laner, yeah, definitely for sure. They'll definitely take the W first, trying to proxy the wave and that sort of stuff.
I don't know. I kind of like top lane Ram. Like, I don't want that to be good, but like, I don't know. Like, I think in specific matchups, like heavy auto attacking matchups, it's like, I mean, it can be very good if you know how to play the character.
Top Rammus has almost a 52% win rate right now.
Okay, maybe it's too good. I didn't realize that.
It has a
That's
0.5%
insane.
pick rate, so it doesn't have a high pick rate at all, but it is 52. And if you max W, then E, then Q, which is, I'd say it's like 1/3 of the matches, then you have a 54% win rate in general. Situational pick, but that seems too strong. His jungle win rate is a little shy of 51, so it's a whole percentage point weaker, basically. So this will go down slightly as well, but he'll still be good in the jungle situationally and top situationally as well, just not as good. Not a big deal though. Don't fret, fellow Rammus mains. Let's talk about another champion that terrorizes specifically. So Viger, or Vigar, I guess if you want to pronounce it that way, which most people do. So he is getting nerfed, which is apropos. This is a pro focused nerf here because I mean I guess he has been around a bunch in solo queue and in normal games, but generally there's enough chaos that he doesn't get out of hand there. But in pro play, it's coordinated enough where he's a lot more of an issue, I think. So Viger's Q AP ratio was 60% at all ranks. Now it's 45 to 65. So at rank 5, it is stronger, but or at rank 4, it's equal. Rank 5, it's stronger, but earlier than that, it's weaker. And generally, pros max this last, actually. His skill orders usually put a couple points in W, then go EQ, and then finish off the W. So or I guess max at second, really, but it'll take a while. The WAP ratio is also changing, so it was 100% at all ranks. Now it's 70 to 110, so it's better late, worse early. And then the RAP ratio was 75%. Now it's 65 to 75, so it equals out at level 16. So he's going to be better late game, but earlier on he will be worse. Just unequivocally, he will be worse. He'll be overall worse until level 16. At that point, he'll be better from then on. But do you guys think this is warranted? Matt, have
Yeah.
you been seeing much Viger in bot lane?
Oh, for sure. With that Q range increase, he's always done bot lane. Yeah, it'll just be nice. It's not really gonna change much at all with the solo queue games, for sure. Like you were saying, his R change really won't affect much at all. He's still overkilling everybody. But yeah, I was surprised about the W thing. I didn't actually know in pro they take W first instead of the Q.
Yeah, that's what LS was saying when he was talking about these notes when I watched his video when it was released like a week or so ago. So that'll change some of how you're trying to one-shot the backline. That'll change some of the minion lethals. But yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know why they ever changed his range on his Q. Like, that just seemed like a way at a left field thing to do to me. But, here we are. But
It is what it is.
yeah, I think he's a freaking menace. So yeah, nerf him. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about that.
Yep.
Another good menace.
He has a almost 50, basically a 50% win rate right now in mid, and in bot lane it's almost 53. So he is the third best bot laner on the patch right now, and is in 4% of games there, and is banned a quarter of the time. So yeah, that is I guess between mid and bot, he's in 10% of games and banned in a quarter of them. He's pretty popular right now, and I agree. He didn't need those range changes at all for pros to start picking him. He's been good for a while if you understand like when to pick him and when not to. Like he's just good. But I'm fine with tapping him down as well.
Yeah, and I also feel like the way the changes makes more sense with his champion identity too. Like, not as good early, very good late.
Yep.
Like, I felt like it. Yeah, I mean,
100%. So, okay. So, John, do you want to cover Olaf for us?
yeah, sure. Let's see, Olaf. His passive attack speed. Yeah, Olaf's been a problem. First of all, passive attack speed is going from 60 to 100% to 50 to 100% scaling, and then his Q damage, the undertow, 70, 120, 170, 220, 270, down to 65, 115, 165, 215, and 265. And then he's the passive elite monster damage.
That is that's on Sejuani.
Oh, okay.
That next part. The first two were
Okay,
on
gotcha.
Olaf. Yeah, the grid is not
Yeah.
very well outlined.
So this is just targeted at top Olaf. I mean, he's super good. Like, he's been meta top lane for quite some time now, and he's just I feel like every time I have a top Olaf in my game, he's just absolutely smashing the other top laner, just killing him on repeat. up like 30 CS by like 15 minutes, and I'm like, if he's on my team, I'm like, yeah. And if it's not, I'm like, oh god, he's such a problem. What do I do now? I mean, you have to take care of him early, and he's just very hard to deal with early too. So it's like, what do you do?
Yeah,
He's been very good for
he does so much damage and has so much sustain, especially because he's going Ravenous first, basically always. So he just heals so much.
And the attack speed is just like, I understand the attack speed because it's so frustrating to just like have a fucking Olaf with Ghost just R run at you, and he's just autoing so fucking fast, and he's just tanking all these tower shots and insta kills you, and it's like, what do I even do? Like, do I just not even exist under my turret? You know, like it's like Trinity, except it feels way worse, man. I feel like because you're just there's no like gimmick with his R like Trinity, you know, but he's just literally running you down and murdering you under turret, and there's nothing you can do. Like you can't CC him, you can't. I don't know.
And if you can't, if you're not able to get away from him, the R will keep going indefinitely because every auto extends the duration of it. So you have to either get away or die or kill him to stop it. It just keeps. It's like Swain R. Like it can stay on indefinitely, and yeah, if you can't deal with it, it's a serious problem.
I feel like he's also the king of like Ring, doing that all that I just said, and then he's got a big wave, and then the enemy jungler ganks right after while he still has his R, and he just murders them like at 5% HP, insta kills them right afterward because he still has his R. Then it's just like,
Tell us how you really feel, John.
oh man, I've seen that
Go into
happen. I
detail
feel
about it.
like so many times. Like that is just like the story of he just double kills the jungler top laner, and then the game is just over.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
Then once he's done with top lane, just goes straight down to bot lane, destroys the bot lane, gets
yeah,
the
and then
towers,
he
just
just pushes R.
roams the whole board.
Yep, he pushes R, pushes Ghost, and then just runs at the ADC, and then that also feels so bad. I've been playing ADC against and have like an enemy Olaf quite a bit. I feel like recently, I just feel so bad, man.
Yeah, he doesn't need
Yep.
move speed towards enemies on his R, is what I will say.
Mm.
Yeah, like even if I'm at Nautilus, he just pushes R. I can't like. There's no peel unless you're Zaya.
Yeah, there is no way to escape him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's inescapable.
Yep. Unless you're playing Tryndamere, that's the only way you can beat him because he can't kill you.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's Olaf. Stats show that he needs the nerf as well. He's almost at a 53% win rate in top lane, and he's like pick ban right now in the LEC as well. So that tells you something. I haven't seen him at all in LCK. Has he made it into LCS? Have you guys seen him there at all? No.
I don't think. I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, he's so good. I'd be surprised if he's not. Like, if he doesn't get banned every game.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay. Well, that's Olaf. Sejuani. Matt, you want to take Sejuani?
Yeah. So with Sejuani, the passive elite monster damage cap is going from 300 to 250, and the Q cooldown is going from 18 to 12 seconds once you max out all the way to 19 to 13 seconds. And the R cooldown is going from 120, 180 respectively to 130, 110, and 90. Basically just adding 10 seconds on each one. And the Q is basically just adding a second on each one. So just longer cooldowns basically is the main thing. Her clear is probably gonna be a little bit slower. That's about it. Yeah.
Yeah, these don't do very much. I don't think. Like you said, the clear is a little slow. For her kit, she has a bit of a too fast of a clear, I'd say. So that sounds good. But her E, I don't think is the main reason that her clear is fast. It's the W. Like she should be much worse with AoE camps, I think. So that would be nice to see. But other than that, the Q change, whatever. This is like she maxes this second, so it's not like she'll get this maxed out as a jungler before the end of the game, especially if you're playing her in top lane. You also will too. But yeah, it doesn't do 1 second doesn't change all that much there. And the R cooldown, also not a big deal. You're not using this on cooldown. I mean, you're looking for ganks and fights and stuff with it, but you're not uh, you're not just like throwing it out, right? It's not like an Ashe R. It's not like a Jinx rocket or an Ezreal. I guess I'm only choosing globals there. What else could be non? It's like Silas or something, right? You're using it when you're going for a pick and coordinating with your team. So if you don't have it for an extra 10 seconds, you and your team are saying, hold on, I have 10 seconds till I have Sejuani R. Let's wait until then, and hopefully they listen.
The only true nerf I see it for is the AP Sejuani. Whenever AP Sejuani needs the ult cooldown, that's basically their kill threat is with the ult cooldown. So that's going to be the main thing with the ult and the Q. It mainly affects them, which is I feel like it was more targeted for the jungle camps, but inherently it just affects the AP Sejuani as well, unfortunately.
Yeah. Which is not very popular, so it's not hurting a lot of players, but it does hurt that build path. Yeah. Good call on that one. John, anything to add Sejuani wise?
No, I think Gil covered it all. I mean, I think the clear, that was like one of the main things that came to mind for me was, I felt like her clear was a little too good for
Yeah.
her champion identity. But yeah, I
And
think spot on with everything else.
Yep, and she's pick ban right now in every major professional league as well. She's perma banned in LPL, it looks like, and from what I was watching some of the casual covered series today, and she's always picked basically in LCK as well if she's not banned. So I don't know about. I think LEC and LCS have a little more variety, but still, like Sejuani's everywhere. She's not everywhere in solo queue, but she's everywhere in pro. So this is, since we're 2 patches away from MSI, this is an MSI geared change here, but it's overall that's quite good. So, yep. Vi, they have a blank thing, so we don't know what they're planning on changing with Vi. But I would surmise that it is a pro play nerf as well, but not much because she's not crazy strong. She's pretty balanced, and she has very clear weaknesses and very clear strengths. But yeah, this will be probably a placebo nerf of some sort targeted at pro play so that she's not perma pick ban at MSI as well. So, yep.
I think it'll be, I imagine it'll be just a small nerf of some sort. If
Yeah.
I had to guess to her early game, but I don't know.
I'd imagine it might just be like the percent armor shred with her W might go down a little bit. Maybe an extra second or two on her passive would be good, or maybe make the passive cooldown scale down a little bit with level. So early on, it's a little worse than later. But I'm not really sure what they're gonna do. Yeah, she's balanced right now in solo queue. She's got like a 50% win rate and is picked in 8% of games. So she's like dead balanced basically. So, yep. Okay, John, why don't you take Wukong?
Mr. Wukong, let's see. Not too many changes for him. I think this is also pro play targeted, but his W, Warrior Trickster, cooldown increased from 22, 19 and a half, 17, 14 and a half, 12 to 22, 20, 18, 16, and 14. And then his E, Nimbus Strike, bonus attack speed is being reduced by 5, looks like at every level.
Yeah.
40 to 35 at the lowest, and then 60 to 55 at the highest rank. So little nerfs to him. I mean, he's been a staple in pro play for a little bit, so makes sense. I definitely think he's strong. Yeah.
Yep. He's also very common in solo queue right now, and probably a tad strong in solo queue in general. He's got a little over 51% win rate with 11% pick rate. I mean, he probably is a tad strong, so I'm fine seeing these changes. Like he's just like if you don't know what you're gonna pick, you're not gonna go wrong picking Wukong right now, and um, he's a little too blindable, I'd say. So these changes aren't gonna do that much, but they'll do a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, nothing much to add.
Yep. Our lack
Speaking
of
of,
our lack of excitement for this change and the last couple really just kind of show that these are pretty placebo-ish and are intended for pro play generally. But Matt, you were saying,
yeah, speaking of the meta junglers coming out right now, Lee Sin is on the chopping block as well. Uh, Same thing with his base AD being nerfed down from 68 to 66, but his base armor is also being reduced as well from 36 to 34. It's practically the same thing as Wukong, more just a nerf more for pro play. Though he does feel a little strong in the solo queues, I would say for sure.
Yeah, they're trying to break my heart, right? Well, at least they did. At least send nerfs accompanied with Graves buffs.
John and we were just while we were setting everything up ahead of time, we were just chatting about Lee Sin specifically, and you were saying that when he gets ahead, he just is so suffocating.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can just do whatever you want. Like you go bot lane on your first gank, you get a double kill, and you just fight the enemy jungler. He can't exist.
Yeah.
It's really fun to play if you're Lee Sin, but man, it's so obnoxious to deal with. But
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, I will say to that point, I mean, if they have a scaling team somewhat, and you make a bad mistake late game, and you get like a give a shutdown to like a Jinx or something, I mean, it's just game over after that. Also, so I mean, there is like weakness to it, but he is definitely very oppressive in the right hands,
Yeah,
especially the early game.
a lot of games I'm seeing it just doesn't get to that late game point. Like he just gets a lead, like you're saying, and then just smashes through, just like
He just
forces
runs
his way
away.
through the game. Yeah, and he's one of the hardest champions to play in the game. Yet he's got an almost 50% win rate with an almost 20% pick rate in the jungle. That's like he's too strong if that's what's happening. Like yeah, he probably should be sitting somewhere around 48. Would probably be balanced if I had to guess. And have a lower pick rate. He's picked in 18.5% of the games and he's almost 50% win rate. Like it's absurd for someone who's supposed to be one of the most mechanically intensive champions. That's wild. Too strong.
He's always been one of the most popular champions, I feel like, but
Yeah, he is. Like so on 13-1, he had a bad win rate and I don't remember exactly all the changes that have happened since then, but he's 46.3% win rate back then. So he was too weak, but he had an 8% pick rate back then. Like people still just love playing Lee Sin. So he's going to have a high pick rate, but when it's as high as it is accompanied with the win rate, he needs a nerf. That being said, the base AD going down doesn't change very much. I don't think that this attack range change will do very much either, but I haven't seen an attack range change in a while, except for when the only one I can think of that happened was like a year ago or two when they rebuffed Annie's attack range. Like attack range just doesn't change very much. Or Senna's souls in the last 6 months or so, they changed those. But other than that, they don't touch attack range very much.
yeah, that is surprising, and I feel like that'll probably feel a little weird at first, especially for people who played a lot of Lee Sin.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
So
we'll see.
yep, another sort of placebo generally and meant at pro play. But here's another one that's meant at pro play. So Zeri, Matt, why don't you take Zeri? Do you ever play her down in bot lane?
Oh, I love Zeri. Zeri feels really nice. If I was to touch on Zeri real quick before we touch on that, Zeri feels so much stronger as a scaler compared to Vayne. But yeah, I love her so much. Anyways, now with the nerf, her HP growth is going from 115 to 110, and her passive shield steal is going from 60% to 50%. And then lastly, her R/AD ratio is going from 100% to 85%. So the only thing that's really notable is the R/AD ratio getting nerfed. Now, whenever she finally pops her R, she's not going to be completely unstoppable with her damage, to where you can actually have a chance, a small little window to actually get some damage back at her. And also be able to trade with her early game with the HP growth. But yeah, I would say this is a pretty healthy nerf coming in for her.
Yeah, I agree, and she's too strong. I'd say in general right now is kind of my read. Like she doesn't have that high of a win rate, but it's because she just takes too much time, so she loses a lot of games because games are over before she can get to her strong point. But with the overheal, shield bow, bloodthirster, enchanter setup that she gets shields like half the size of her health bar, just like a Phelios does, and since she steals shields as well, which sidetrack. Why does she need to steal shields at all? Just remove that interaction from her kit. I don't have an issue with that as a mechanic, but she doesn't need it for everything else that she has. Ramping, infinitely ramping, move speed, a very interesting Q and normal auto attack setup. The extendo beam, like the wall glide as well, extended range and like pass through on her E. Like she's got so many interesting things going for her. Why does she need to steal shields as well and heals? Like just why? It doesn't make sense thematically with her like her skins or her lore very much. She's like it just I don't think it makes any sense, and I don't understand why it's in. This seems like something that will get removed at some point, just like how when Aurelia was released and way too many mechanics, they got rid of her ult doing a disarm on people, and they got rid of her W doing like a bonus 70% damage to shields. They got rid of Akali being invisible from turrets in her shroud. Like this is just something that's gonna get taken away. Do it sooner rather than later, please. Whew, I'm gonna hop off my soapbox now.
Glad you got it out.
Yeah.
But yes, I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, her kit just has too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. Okay, so that was Zeri. We have two more nerfs and then a couple of systems changes, and then we'll be out of here. So, Thresh, the Q. Oh, I forgot Annie. Sorry. Annie. Her E cooldown is up by 2 seconds late, so it's now instead of 8 seconds, it's 10 seconds. It still starts at 12. And then her base shield on the E is going down, so it was 60 to 220, now it's 60 to 200. So, this is meant to be power neutral, basically, for mid lane Annie, but a nerf to support Annie with the E Max and Shirelia's. She is pick ban. She's basically 100% presence in pro play generally right now, so another pro play focused one. I don't really see support Annie I see mid lane Annie, but I don't really see support Annie hardly at all in my games. Matt, have you seen support Annie at all, or not really?
Not really. Mainly like once or twice, but that's about it so far for like probably these past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's very rare.
I feel like I've seen it some.
Okay.
I feel like it's pretty annoying, honestly.
I would definitely agree it is annoying. I just haven't seen it so much, but since because of the way that they are changing this and how it's not that popular in solo queue, then this makes me think that this is yet another pro play nerf, and we'll see when the stats get released later on. But yeah, she's statistically the best support on the patch right now with a 5% pick rate, 53.5, basically 53.5% win rate, and the second best mid lane with 52.7 win rate. So mid is going to be marginally worse. It really won't change win rate wise. Support should get knocked down a percentage point or two with this, but she's still going to be good in any role that you pick her if she was before. So don't let this dissuade you. She's just getting slightly worse enough so that she's not perma pick ban at MSI. But I imagine she might get nerfed again next patch because I don't think this is going to change very much overall. Okay.
Yeah.
Matt, you want to take Thresh?
Yeah, so with Thresh, he's getting a nerf on his Q. His cooldown refund on hit is going from 3 seconds to 2 seconds. Um, basically, just whenever he auto attacks, his whenever his Q hits. Wait,
Yeah, it's when his Q
the
hits.
seconds refund. So yeah, the seconds refund. So basically, they finally realized now that they've reduced his cool cooldown, they need to actually nerf the final Q whenever the little timer reset that you get whenever you hit somebody with it. So this will affect the thresh for forever stunning you effect, where you can keep on queuing you at the end late game. Um,
And not just
and
with
I think
late
this
game,
is
when he
finally being
gets
touched.
one item and lucidity boots, really, he can basically do that. I mean, I've seen Fenrir when we've been playing games and stuff just be able to do that at lucidity boots and mythic, and he can do that, which is, and if he can do it, then obviously the pros can do it. And Thresh is back in pro play, which is great because Thresh is flashy and really fun to watch, and he'll be at MSI absolutely. But the right now he's too strong overall. Like that CC chain is insane. There needs to be some window for you to escape it. And right now, if you don't have a blink, basically you're and he doesn't get stopped by other chaos happening in a fight, you're not going to get away from him unless he misses his second Q.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. It does feel like it when he's hitting it. It does feel like it's just permanently over.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, and in the notes for the tweet when this was sent out as well, nerf to Thresh CC chain. So that's specifically what they're targeting. It doesn't change his damage, doesn't change anything else, just the CC chain. So, yeah. Other than that, we have 3 system buffs. Well, some system changes here in general. So, Abyssal Mask getting 50 extra health. Death Dance, the build path is being reverted, and the AD is down by 10. It's getting 15 ability haste now, but the armor is also going down by 5. There's a change to Grievous Wounds as a system as well. They all now apply to Grievous Wounds to targets that completely block the damage with shield. So before you had to take damage to your health in order to receive the Grievous Wounds, now it will still apply even if you're being shielded and it doesn't break through. And then Catalyst of Eons for a nerf is getting 200 gold more expensive. It is getting 75 health as compensation, and the total cost of the items it builds into is unchanged. So those are the system changes there. What stands out to you, John? Why don't you take it first? What does anything stand out here, or nothing really?
I feel like the grievous wounds thing is just a nice quality of life thing. Uh, like that's the main thing that like it sticks out to me. Like the abyssal mask is like, uh, I don't know.
Who cares,
Hello,
really?
this
Yeah,
item exists, guys. Build it, please. Give our sample size something.
yeah.
But I don't know. This dance seems a little weird, I guess, to me because like they took off the haste. Now they're putting it back, and they're basically just doing a different. They're reverting it, but in a different way because they're adding the AD, or they're lowering the AD. But they're keeping the armor the same. But or no, they're lowering the armor by 5. But I don't know. Like they've nerfed this item so much, but it just seems weird to me that they're changing the haste back. But I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I have my own thoughts, but Matt, why don't you follow up? What do you think about these systems changes?
I think my favorite one so far is the Catalyst of Aeons. Getting the total cost increase is my favorite thing because fighting against the Veigar bot lane, um, him having to be able to go back before I have to go back because I have to wait for that 130 gold and he can just go ahead and head back at that 100 mark is slightly annoying. But now it's a nice little like early game laning difference. It's, it's like a double whammy on Veigar, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
that one's a good one. Yeah.
yeah, that's a good comparison because like that's like would be the difference between, for example, like similar to what I was talking about earlier, getting Dirk versus the new Quiver. It's the exact same price difference. It's 1,100 to 1,300. So yeah, that's definitely harder. It makes the first phase, getting that right amount of gold, more difficult
Hmm.
to hit the spike.
Yeah, I think the catalyst change is that's good. What you said there for sure. Abyssal Mask just trash. It's still a trash item. There, I don't
Yeah,
really
they need
know
to
it.
change it.
They
Just
just
rework it.
rework it entirely. It's trash. This doesn't make it any better. Death Dance. The stats changes don't change all that much. Although yes, of course we need another place to find ability haste because there's nowhere else to get ability haste in this game. But the build path being reverted, I think, is a lot is sneaky, a lot more powerful than we're thinking because you can, or at like first glance, because the build path now with a chain vest and 2 pickaxes is terrible to build into. It just feels so clunky to sit on those, and that takes up a large part of your inventory as well. But being able to get what a pickaxe, chain vest, and I think a Caulfield's Warhammer is what it built out of before. That is a lot nicer just to sit on because you can build it more incrementally rather than needing to get essentially 800, 900 gold before getting parts of it. And then the Grievous wounds.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead on the build path.
Oh, the definitely. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Like just building the item will feel much better with Warhammer in the build path because also the components are much easier to build into because I mean you can just get something off of any amount of gold usually when you back because I mean you just have to have at least 350. So
Hmm.
yeah, it did feel bad sometimes if you were building it to have to get a double pickaxe,
Yeah,
and then sit on the chain vest or the cloth armor, and yeah, so yeah, definitely it might be like a sneaky build path buff
it
kind of.
definitely is. We've seen build paths change and items become worse just because of the way that they have to build into them. um,
Mhm.
or better as well. So I think that this will make a nice change here. But I really think it's important. Like seeing these grievous wounds changes are important specifically for those late game team fights with Aphelios, Zeri. I mean, who else gets massive shields in like Misfortune or something? Just when you're getting the Bloodthirster, the Overheal, an Enchanter shield, and then maybe additional, and then like Shield Bow to get through that. On hit Varus does this. Like you're not, so for the first like 2-3 seconds in combat you're not getting through those at all, and if you're not able to do enough damage they're just able to keep them up. Now once, as soon as you hit them or they're hitting you in the case of Thornmail, then grievous wounds is being applied so they can't infinitely keep that shield up. It's gonna go down slowly. I mean, maybe those shields are too big in general and this is not going to be enough to do something to that, but this is at least a good step to stop. I mean, I saw an Ophelio shield with Severum, Overheal, Bloodthirster, and no enchanter, and it was half of his health bar. He had effectively like 4,000 health almost, or like 3,500. It was absurd to see that in a pro game. Like, that just shouldn't be something that's possible for someone when you don't have that much health. That's too big of a shield. That's too big. And then Zeri can steal that shield as well. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that's like a oh man, just a whole another level of problem.
Yeah, so like I'm cool with having big shields and having Bloodthirster be good situationally, but like Christ, this is a needed mechanic to have been in there. I'm surprised that it wasn't in there
Yes,
before. Really, is what I'm
yes,
thinking
I'm the
here.
same here. I thought that was in the game already.
Yeah,
yeah,
so that will noticeably hurt. That will noticeably hurt the shielding ADCs that we were talking about there, but
Mhm.
basically everyone else in the game that doesn't change anything. So, which is nice. It's situational in there in a mechanic. So, yeah. Anyways, that was patch 13.07. Anything else that like overall, I'd say a decent patch, not crazy, but a bunch of placebo buffs. They touched a bunch of characters. It was decent.
Yeah.
yeah. Overall, yeah, I think some things to look forward to for
Yep.
sure.
Hopefully they're a bit
Um,
harder on buffs, or they do more for uh the last on 13.8, which is the MSI patch, but I don't have confidence that that'll actually happen.
Yeah, buff Rengar so that we can see Blabber play Rengar again.
We don't need to buff Rengar to see that. He already played it and did well. Why do you need to buff
I
it?
know. I'm just kidding. I won't make him play it. Make him play it every game.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so here, if we wanted one legitimate change to happen for the next patch, what would you guys say it is? So I have one in my brain while you guys are thinking about it. I think that I would want to see an even further buff to Alistair's AP ratios, but only put it on the E. I want his E to have a higher AP ratio. So I think it's like 70 or something now. Let me try and find it. But I think that should, or maybe just the Q or whatever. But I think if they're really trying to put him in a solo lane and have that be a possibility, pros still are not picking it right now. And this change, I don't think, is enough to push that into their faces. Like, look at how many buffs Malphite needed in order for pro players to start to pick him and realize that he's good. And he's fucking broken right now. And now they're playing him. But like to be able to start picking Alistair in mid lane or in top lane not as much, but put him in mid lane, this would be it'd be really cool to see. His E has 7% AP ratio per tick, and it's every half second for 5 seconds, so we're talking about that's 10 ticks overall, so it's doing a decent amount of damage. I'd like to see it go up to basically be like 10% AP per tick or something, or just maybe make the Q 100% AP as well, so he has 100% AP on the Q and W. That's what I'd like to see. Okay, John, what do you want to see next patch? Give me one change.
So first of all, I like where your head's going with the wild AP Alistar tech, but I would say one change I want to see, please nerf Nocturne. I think he's really strong. Yeah.
So nerf him in what way? What direction would you like them to see go? Like, how is he too problematic for you?
I think his Q needs to be toned down a little bit. I think. His skirmishing power is just too good. Like, I feel like his identity is kind of a scaling assassin, but I don't know. He goes the bruiser build also typically, so he's pretty tanky, and he's got a spell shield. You can just 1v1 anybody except like maybe Wukong,
Trundle,
and Trundle, and it's very easy to execute, and you just win it with lethal tempo. And I don't think that should be how it is. Like, level 3, even once that character hits level 3, he can duel anybody except with a few exceptions. So I don't think that is okay. I think that makes it so he doesn't have that, he has very little counterplay early because of that. And his clear is exceptionally good. It's very healthy. And I don't know. I would even think his clear maybe even needs to be toned down, his monster damage camps, because his passive would be a good nerf, because he just deletes AoE camps too. That's passive. I don't know. I just feel that he's very strong, and it's been like that for a while. But
okay,
I don't know. That, and also Abyssal Mask just being an item, because I don't know. I forgot it existed.
Yeah, I routinely forget that item exists as well. Can you tell me the build path of it? Do you have any idea what it builds out of?
I bet you it's probably a Giant's Belt, I imagine, or like a Ruby Crystal maybe, and then probably, not a Negatron Cloak, definitely a Mantle. I don't know.
So, okay, so it builds out of Catalyst and Spectre's Cowl, so it's Ruby Crystal, Sapphire Crystal, Ruby Crystal, Normal Mantle, yeah. But the fact that, for as much as we play this game, and I couldn't think of it offhand, I bet, Matt, you couldn't either, and then he's shaking his head no. Yeah, and then John didn't know either. Like, the fact that we don't know shows how little people buy this item, and we don't, or even consider it as a possibility, like, oh, okay, I bought a a Ruby Crystal here. I have a Spectre's Cowl. What am I going to turn it into? I'm never turning a Spectre's Cowl into an Abyssal Mask. If I'm getting Spectres, it's for the sole purpose of getting Spirit Visage. I'm never getting Abyssal Mask.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I completely forgot they changed the build path and made it so it does Catalyst now.
Yeah.
That's how little I built that item. I don't think I've literally built that item in like maybe a year. Like honestly, I have no idea.
I don't know if I've ever built it in its current form. I don't know I could not tell you the last time I built it. Maybe playing full tank Nautilus when I have 4 AP players, 4 AP allies in ARAM. That might be it. So,
Yeah.
okay. Matt, what do you want to see change in next patch?
I want to see the Scorch Claw pup be touched on some way.
Is that the red
I'm
one?
not really sure. That's the red one.
Okay.
I feel like either the meta right now is either taking the blue one or the green one, the hatchling or the Guswalk or the Montstomp or whatever it is, Moss, whatever it is. Anyways, the blue or green one is the meta. It feels like everybody's just taking those two, and the red just doesn't do much at all. That's what it seems like. It feels like.
Yeah. I think that's a good one.
Who takes the red
So
one right
that
now?
needs some
Like,
love.
I can't think. The only ones I can think of are AP Maokai, which is basically dead. AP Shaco takes it sometimes, but I like blue
Oh,
a lot more for that. But otherwise,
yeah.
who else takes it? Maybe Karthus would.
I mean, Evelyn sounds like a nice champion for it, but it just doesn't work out. It's just so much better to take blue or green because he deals so much more damage with it. It's not really noticeable at all.
Yeah, you don't with Eve, your issue is not damage, it's survivability like you're saying or getting in position. So red would just have you overkilling or not. Like it just it doesn't do enough for it to be worth it. Or the slow is not that good either. I think it does a slow, doesn't it? It's just
The autos, I think.
yeah,
I think it just does the percent burn.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it does
just
slow. Your next damage will affect slow and damage in the
Okay.
champions. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, it's like usually pretty cut and dry. You either go green or blue.
Yep.
I think may sometimes go red on Kane, but like I don't know. Even then, I feel like blue or green is just way better.
I could
But
see if you're going like maybe Viego could use red, but not great. I don't know. Like it's just the fact that we're struggling to come up with anyone that's good with red shows how bad red is compared to the other two.
it's also just too conditional. Like whereas green is like you just exist and you get the shield, right? And then with the blue, you go through the bushes or you get a kill on a large monster kill on a camp and then you get it. Red, it's like you get the stacks, kind of like rapid fire, and then it's the next auto or attack. Um, I don't know. It's just more difficult to use,
I
and like for how difficult it is to use, it doesn't seem like it's that great.
What about like lethality nocturne taking it? Like yes, we understand like this you get the same benefits from green and blue, but if you're
Mhm.
flying in that little extra damage maybe would help.
Actually, yeah, I would be down to try that because that would be nice. Because I one problem he has is just staying on top of people, right? Because he doesn't have a
Mhm.
gap closer. And that's why Stridebreaker used to be just grossly OP on him when it had like the 80 or 90% slow. Because if you didn't have a dash, you're just gonna die to him if he ults you and you're pushed up at all. Um, but yeah, the slow would be nice for that because I mean he can just come out of the jungle, have the full stacks on the pet for his red smite, and they just are in to get the proc on it and slow him. So yeah, I think that actually would be nice.
Apparently red is the most commonly picked with nocturne, so that surprises
Hey,
me.
I didn't know that.
yeah, I bet you Shaco is pretty nice too.
Yeah,
Like you were saying.
AP would be better than AD would. AD you definitely want blue just because you need to get onto your backline targets without being seen. So the faster you can get onto them, the better. But yeah, so okay, good change there. So we'll see if any of that comes true. well, that's it for us this episode. This has been 1307. Remember to check us out on Patreon. We have a whole bunch of different benefits there that you can sign up for at various different tiers. Additionally, please come join us on Community Night. We have those every Tuesday starting at 7:15 Eastern Time and running for a few hours or so. And they're great, so come join us. Also, please, if you have any feedback, send it to us via questions@trinityforcepodcast.com or send it or leave us some feedback or comments or at me or something in the feedback subthread of our Discord as well. And if you don't know how to get to the Discord, well, you can find that on our website at you can find that right on our website, trinityforcepodcast.com. Other than that, thank you everyone for tuning in, and we will see you next episode.
Bye.
Bye bye.